Real quick before we get into today's video, just want to thank the people over on Patreon who have taken the time out to help support the channel, and just got to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support. Once I start offering memberships and figure out what to offer for memberships on this channel, I'll start adding the names of YouTube members as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto episode 171, which is now done and in the books. And yo, we gotta go ahead and get right into this one, because this is one of those times where the anime dropped a lot of information on us. It's information that I've told you guys for over 2 or 3 years now at this point, but I'm really glad that the anime is backing up stuff I've said in passing. Now we can kind of deaden some of the conversations that people have had with me about why I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to Sarada's Sharingan, and the fact that Sarada is not going to be able to pull out the full potential of her Sharingan until she's able to get her stamina issue under control, until Sarada's able to beef up her chakra control. So I'm glad that the anime handled that, but I gotta go ahead and give the props to the Boruto portion, because I like the fact that in this episode we actually saw Boruto's growth and how he was able to take down Shojoji. And you know, like I talked about in one of the discussion videos last week, I said that when it comes to Boruto versus Shojoji, this is a very important fight for the character, because this gives Boruto the opportunity to take down a notorious criminal, somebody who is in the bingo book, somebody who was a rising criminal in the eyes of the Hidden Leaf Village. And the fact that Boruto was able to take this guy down, despite the fact that Shojoji has some borderline overpowered abilities, which I'm gonna end up doing a whole video breaking down Shojoji's jutsu and kind of explaining a few of the minute details that the anime has not, in my opinion, done the best job of highlighting. But what I will say is that I like the fact that, you know, we see both of Boruto's new Rasengans, and this kind of leads me to believe that at some point we're going to actually see Boruto's Rasengan actually take another evolution forward too, because this is just the beginning here. And the reason why I was so impressed with Boruto's fight with Shojoji is the fact that, you know, it started out one way where you see Boruto and he's dodging Shojoji's attacks, and you know, they actually reused some of the animation from the opening sequence that they used for the Mujina Bandits portion of the series, which again, I said I wouldn't be opposed to it if they did that, and they just kind of slipped in a few extra movements, which is what they did. You know, we had a few moments where Boruto was able to land in a couple of solid hits on Shojoji, but the reason why I like that right there is that, you know, right from the very beginning, they make it very clear that Boruto's Wind Rasengan by itself is still lacking the power. So it goes back to what I said before, like Boruto is at that same stage where Naruto was, where Boruto can't actually contain the wind changing chakra nature long enough in that attack for the attack to actually do damage. And so for Boruto, that's the thing that it's gonna end up having to take that next step forward. However, what Boruto realized is that, okay, that's a little bit of trouble for me, but I'll focus on the things that I can do. So for Boruto, he's never gonna make a massive Rasengan on his own unless he has external help. Manga fans know exactly what I'm referring to on there, but what Boruto realizes is that, okay, I have limits there, but what I can do is, since I do have good chakra control, I can go ahead and make my Rasengan super small. But even though it's already small, I'll make it a little bit smaller, and I'll just focus on condensing as much chakra into this small point as possible. And the reason why I like that right there is it's Boruto taking a weakness and it's Boruto turning it into a strength. That's part of what Sakura and Sasuke were telling Sarada, like, hey, you know your weaknesses, now you need to train to overcome them. Boruto did that as well. However, Boruto reached that conclusion a little bit sooner, which it does kind of show you again, you know, Boruto, when it comes to being a genius, Boruto's a different type of genius on there. So that's not a knock at Sarada or anything like that. You know, Sarada definitely has her father's impatience. You know, when Sasuke was a bit younger, when Sasuke would get flustered, you know, sometimes Sasuke would see red. So I like the fact that you saw how that kind of clouded Sarada from being able to understand how to surpass the wall that's in front of her. Whereas Boruto has some of Naruto's tendencies, but like I've said before, Minato's genes were just so super smart that they skipped a generation. And so what you end up seeing with Boruto is that Boruto's like, okay, I can't do this. However, I'll focus on what I'm actually good at. So I thought that that was cool, and I like the fact that even Kakashi, the moment that he sees Boruto using this new Rasengan, Kakashi says, oh, this is what he's doing, which it kind of goes back to something I said. You know, a lot of people say because Kakashi doesn't have Sharingan that, you know, he's lost a lot of advantages. And, you know, I've said before, Kakashi was a prodigy and a genius before he even got the Sharingan, and Kakashi's very sharp. He doesn't need the Sharingan to break down every jutsu that he sees, and he catches right away what it was that Boruto was doing. So I thought that that was cool right there. Kakashi jumps to the correct conclusion that if Shojoji was not using his Wind Zyper jutsu, if he was not using that shield, that Boruto would have killed him. And so what we're seeing in this moment is the fact that Boruto has a Rasengan that, because it is chakra control and it's putting all of Boruto's chakra into a concentrated point, a small point, he's able to break through even something that can be regarded as an ultimate defense. Now, how that's going to help him with Deepa is the fact that Deepa can harden his entire body. However, like Itachi said, all jutsu are going to have a weakness, and so there's probably going to be one point, more than likely Deepa's core, but there's going to be one point on Deepa's body that he's not going to be able to harden completely. Or if Deepa's able to harden the entire body, it's something that's spread out completely. And so if you just focus on one particular spot, and if you exert enough chakra into that one spot, you can undo everything. That's why the 48 laws of power says to find your enemy's thumb screw, because no matter how powerful, no matter how intelligent the foe is, everybody has one weakness, and if you can find that one weakness, you can take down anybody. You see with the Sakura and Sarada thing, they're hammering home the exact same points that Boruto's learning himself through Kakashi, which is, you know, when Sarada and Sakura have their moments where they're sparring and they're getting their moments where they're kind of seeing exactly where Sarada is able to go, exactly what her limits are as a shinobi, what her limits with the Sharingan are. I like the fact that, you know, you have this moment at the end where Sakura, you can tell that like she's fighting her daughter seriously, but she's still severely holding back. She's just giving her daughter just enough to actually pressure her. And what I like in this moment right here is that Sakura's like, okay, you've clearly reached your limit. Let's go ahead and end this right here. And Sarada shows a level of genius that you would only expect from somebody that is from the same bloodline of Itachi and Fugaku and Sasuke. And that's the fact that she realizes my chakra control is not necessarily the best. However, if I can copy Sakura's movements and through muscle memory, maybe I'll be able to mimic her chakra control by doing exactly what it is that she's doing. So what I like in this moment right here is that Sarada took a hell of a gamble, but because she was able to exert the exact amount of chakra control that Sakura was able to use by memorizing her movements via the Sharingan, what this allows her to do, like she said, is calculate how much chakra she needed to exert in order to match what Sakura is putting out. Again, Sakura was clearly holding back. This was a sparring session. She's just trying to get the most out of her daughter, the same way that Tsunade was just using just enough force in her training with Sakura in order to push her student. So what I like in this moment right here is that Sasuke tells her that was very reckless, but it worked. And then Sakura has a moment where she breaks down and starts crying and she hugs her daughter and she says the same thing. And what I like in that moment is that Sakura realizes that, you know, Sarada, she took a hell of a gamble, but if Sarada would have done one thing wrong, Sakura wouldn't have killed her daughter because her chakra controllers were fine enough to where that wouldn't happen. However, she would have done some major damage to her daughter if that didn't pay off. So I thought that that was cool. I also like how Sakura acknowledges it after the fact and says, okay, that's awesome. Now that I know that you got the guts, we're gonna do exactly what Tsunade did with me, which is even if you got some broken bones and you're out of chakra, well, you're just gonna have to find a way to suck it up, sweetheart, because I'll just heal your injuries and we'll go right back to it. So I like that, you know, Sakura and Sasuke both come to that conclusion, okay, we can take the kid gloves off with our daughter and start training her for real. So Sarada, she's got good chakra control, but she still wastes quite a bit of chakra, just like her father did. Sasuke just had a higher pool of chakra, but Sasuke, even in part 1, Sasuke was wasting chakra. So what I like in this moment right here is that, you know, it should make those of you guys who skip part 1 go back and look at part 1 of Naruto, and in particular I want you to go back and look at the Orochimaru versus third Hokage battle. Part of what made the third Hokage's battle with Orochimaru so damn interesting to see is that even though Hiruzen Sarutobi was far removed from his prime, part of the reason why he could fight on that continued level for a long period in time is Hiruzen Sarutobi was in a position to where, because his chakra control was absolutely perfect, that's why he was able to use so much high level ninjutsu back to back to back without getting gassed until it got to the point where he had to fight 2 Hokages and Orochimaru. And even then he was still whipping out a lot of those high level ninjutsu, but then once he got gassed, that was more so due to his old age. Until a character gets perfect chakra control and they build up their own strength levels and they build up their stamina levels, I don't care how skilled they are, they don't have enough power to effectively wield these jutsu in a battle that's prolonged. That's why you see the difference with Sakura and Sarada, where Sarada, just to counter Sakura's movements and create that massive crater that they do, it made her collapse. And yet when you look at Sakura, Sakura's still standing, she was still composed. Sakura could keep fighting long after that, and that's because of the chakra control element of it. So what this also tells you is that even when Sarada gets her 3 Tomoe Sharingan, even when her Sharingan gets to that level, she's still going to need the training. And you actually see this in the Sasuke Shinden novel, which I'm covering here on the channel. But in the Sasuke Shinden novel, that's part of the reason why, even though Sarada has a 3 Tomoe Sharingan, that's why Sasuke's going through doing Sharingan exercises with Sarada, helping her with her Sharingan and teaching her different ways to use her Sharingan. That's why in the manga, I'm not going to get into spoilers because this is an anime review, but that's why in the manga, why Mitsuki's telling Sarada, hey, you know your Sharingan can do this. If you try doing it in this way, you should be able to use your Sharingan to see this type of thing that our opponent is using. Because again, Sarada is still learning to use her Sharingan even after it's been evolved to its 3rd Tomoe state. Also, another thing you have to keep in mind is, like I said, in the manga, and again, it's not a spoiler, but in the manga, that's why there's a fight that happens where Sarada's constantly cutting her Sharingan on and off, using it just long enough to read the movements and to read the area that her opponent is attacking in, and then she's cutting it right back off because she still has stamina and chakra control issues. So I'm not gonna call it an excellent episode. I'm not gonna say it's terrible either. My episode question to you guys is, who are you more impressed with? Are you more impressed with the advancement that Boruto made, or are you more impressed with the advancement that Sarada made? Let me know why down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.